Hello, everybody out there. Well, I finally did it. I always tell you guys I make extra like mashed potatoes and extra rice and stuff on purpose so that in a couple of days I can transform them and make them into something else. And the one thing I always laugh about at myself is this. I always make extra rice thinking I'm going to make rice pudding with this, and I put it in there, and what do you know? I end up doing something else. I make fried rice out of it. I stuff it in a burrito. I don't know. I end up doing something completely different, or they don't have it as a side dish. I'm making me some rice pudding right now before I change my mind. So I have leftover rice. That's what my mom always used. Now, there's, again, like anything else, you can make it a couple of different ways. I am the cheating gourmet. I'm making it easy and it will be delicious, because if I go through all the trouble of tempering eggs and whatnot, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to be lazy and not do it. But this way, I'm going to do it nice. But I got to tell you, my very favorite rice pudding is the Greek version. I might not be pronouncing this right, but I know how to spell it. But I could look it up how to pronounce it. Rizogalo. Rizo means rice, and the other Galo means milk. Rice and milk, they're your basics. Okay, so let's start with those. Oh, I got to get up my milk. Oh, I'm so dumb. Hold on. Got to get up like Gallo, however you pronounce it, right? Okay, I'm back. Okay, I got my milk. So, in a saucepan. Oh, and that's another thing. I think they use arborio rice, which I've used, but I don't have any. And this was basmati rice. I love basmati. It's my favorite. So I'm going to start with 2 cups of this, and this is already cooked. Now, lots of rice pudding that you might see, give me a spoon. It isn't cooked. They cook it right in the milk, which would, I'm sure, make it a lot nicer. Like, because the rice would swell up with the milk in there and it would be more delicious. But again, this is how my mom made it. And we didn't have a lot of money. So this was like a real treat. If she made anything that was sweet or delicious with leftovers, was the way to go. I'm trying to do this without touching the rice too much, but it's not really going to work. I'm just semi-packing it in. I'm not going to go nuts either way. Will Thane eat this? Probably not. He doesn't eat one thing that I make sweet, except once in a while, a chocolate chip cookie. He will eat one of those. So there's your rice, 2 cups. I'm putting everything, pretty much all of it, in this pot. It's a sauce pot with a nice heavy base, because this has to cook kind of low and slow. Now, I know you're supposed to use whole milk, but I just have the 2%, but I have a little helper here. So I'm going to wing it. So we're going to do 2 cups of this. How about I do a cup of this and a cup of that? And it will be a little richer. I don't know if that's a thing, but it'll work like that, but I'm going to do it. Okay, so half and half, and half of the 2%. I don't see how it could hurt. You know, I really don't. I can't see how it hurt. Like my little whisk, I have 2 sizes of this. Ball bearing kind of things on the end, or just little hard balls. Then stuff doesn't get stuck. You know how the whisk, you have to go and dig in like this? Well, this is a part, and it goes in the dishwasher. They're really neat. I have 2 sizes. I bought one for Lindsay and one for Sage, because they both like to cook. Okay, so I'm going to get the clumps out. Stir that up. Not too much else goes in here. A little unsalted butter. Let me grab that. I happen to have a hand. So we're going to use, this is the unsalted. You could use salted. I usually don't even have this. 3 tablespoons, and they're usually ticked off, 1, 2, 3. So I can cut that. Get this in here. And I'm gonna do this so just it gets a little bit cut up in there, okay? That was 3 tablespoons. Now, What's next? Sugar. Sugar. Okay, and that is 1/3 of a cup. This is a 2/3 cup measure. I know y'all do this at home. You don't use the right one. It's like, I'll use about half. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use about half as much. Let me get this going. And I'm probably off camera at this point, but you'll forgive me, right? I'm just trying to get some clumps out. Okay, so there you have it. It was 2/3, now it's 1/3. 1/3 of the regular, just white granulated sugar. But we're gonna use some brown sugar too. We're gonna use a 1/4 cup. Hey, I have the correct one. How about that? Of the brown sugar. And to me, anytime brown sugar's in a recipe, they mean that you pack it, okay? So pack it in there. That was 1/4 cup. Okay, I'm gonna stir it up a little bit. Just 2 more things are left. And I'm gonna put them all in at once. Some of the things I've seen, like the Greek one, with the arborio rice or the long grain, what happens is it's not as thick and creamy. And I like my rice pudding kind of on the thicker side. That means you can cook it a little longer. You can even add a little cornstarch towards the end if it's not going to, with some milk. Put a little bit of milk in the cornstarch and cold liquid when you make cornstarch and liquid. Make it cold and then put it in and it will make it thicker. But if you use a short grain rice, it will be thicker and creamier, and I like that better, okay? So this is gonna cook a while, but we need a little bit of flavoring. And I have my cinnamon, and I have this is vanilla bean paste. I have my own vanilla that I make, but I'm gonna add this. It's just a 1/2 teaspoon. Let me grab out a 1/2 teaspoon in here. See how I keep these loose? Because, here, I have them like this, see? But then I gotta wash them all, I feel like. So the ones I use the most, I just throw them in here and I grab out a 1/2 teaspoon of that. So I'm gonna need a little bit of cinnamon and a little bit of vanilla. So let me get the cinnamon first. And I'm just gonna judge, okay, about a 1/2 teaspoon or a teaspoon because I like cinnamon. You can always add this at the end. And this is kind of like a liquidy, can you see that? Like, look, I'll do this so you can get it. See how it's, whoops, see how it's thick? And it has all those good vanilla beans in it. Did you watch my video that I made, how to make your own vanilla extract? Now, I'm telling you, it's so crazy. I've been doing stuff like sometimes for 20 years, even 30 years, 40 years for my pumpkin roll. And now everything's on the internet, but you know, doesn't mean it's always the best on the internet. So, tried and true. Get recipes from your grandma or from your mama or a good friend who likes to cook. Sometimes they're the best ones, you know? Okay, that's it. We had cooked rice, whole milk, a little butter to make it creamy, white sugar, brown sugar, vanilla, and cinnamon. Boom, shakalaka. I'm gonna get this a little bit hot and then turn it down, kind of a low, medium heat, if you will. But the secret is you gotta stir it, okay? I'm not gonna stir it with this. I just wanted to get it started with that because this is a kind of a Teflon non-stick thing. And we'll see how it is. I'm gonna add raisins. Why do I have these little baby things? Because when I buy the big container, unless it's like kind of baking season for me, they end up getting hard. And I know you can reconstitute them. But it's just like, but I just like to have I'll make like a little trail mix for my snack at night. Like a little bit of peanuts and a little bit of raisins and, you know, whatever else. So I just use these. So actually, I'm going to put a whole pack in. And then they'll swell up in there. So look at, there's about that many in there. Works for me. And that little 6-pack of these in Aldi, so cheap. I think they were $1.19. So I'll spend $1.19 and go from there. Okay, let's get her on the stove and then we'll be back. Okay, doke, a couple of things here. Let's see if I can get that in the camera. Can you see? It's getting really thick. That's the short grain rice. Couple thoughts I have here. I should have known better than to put the tab of butter in at this point. Although it's not hurting it, okay, it doesn't hurt it. But the principle of putting a little tab of butter in, say, a sauce or a gravy, like a pan sauce at the end, is to make it velvety and thicken it up. But I did it here, and I should have put in the cinnamon last too. But it's all good because I did taste it, and yes, I scalded my tongue. That was dumb. And it's really got the flavor. It's got the correct flavor that I like. One other thing I should have mentioned about the Greek rice pudding, which is so good. We go to a Greek festival. We try to every year here in the Pittsburgh area. A nice big Greek church, and they put on a really nice festival. And one of the things I love to get is their desserts and their little things of rice pudding. And I detected a little lemon in that. And just like the soup that I am going to make, you use a little lemon in that. It's a chicken soup. It has lemon. My friend Pete, who is 100% Greek, taught me that years ago. He told me that, and I thought it was so strange. I'm like, you put lemon in your chicken soup? And he's like, yeah, we do. And he used to cook dinners for us once in a while. Those of you who knew my friend Pete back in the day, we lost touch, but once in a while, we end up connecting again. He's a great fella, great fella. And he used to cook dinners for us once in a while. And he even made things like baklava and all these different spanakopita and stuff, I remember. And they weren't familiar to me, but they sure were delicious. So every time I put a little lemon in my chicken soup, I think of Pete. And I'm going to turn this off now, so I have a feeling it's going to thicken up naturally, just a teeny bit more. And like I said, the aroma's there and that taste is there. Raisins are optional, of course, but there you have it. You know, I just want to say this too. Sometimes you make things the fast way, the cheaty way. I call it the cheaty way. And sometimes you make them the correct way. And I could have used raw rice and the correct milk and blah, blah, blah. But then I wouldn't have this because I would have waited till I had all the time and ingredients. Because with the raw rice, you have to, I think, cook it a long, long time. This did not take long at all. Don't you think the kids would like this too? You know? I do. And next time I make it, I'm not going to put as much sugar in. I thought it was a little too on the sweet side. But other than that, this is a winner, man. And it only took 2 cups. So there you have it. I'll put it in a pretty dish and take a picture.